So let's look again at the Epson P700. Hello, welcome to this Fotospeed video with me, Tim Jones. Today what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be revisiting the Epson P700. Now, I did a video a while ago comparing it to the ET8550 and also the Canon Pro 300 as well. But I wanted to give it a bit of a video on its own and just revisit it and have a look at the printer and see what it can do. Because I've been impressed with it, as everyone knows. It is a great printer. The first thing that I really love about it is the size, and it's just so compact and nice and easy, and it fits on your desk really nicely. Now, I've had a Pro 1000 from Canon sat on my desk for the last year, and it's made a really nice change to swap these printers over. So I'm going to be keeping the 700 on my desk because it just fits the room a little bit more and I haven't got this monster. However, don't worry, the Pro 1000 is still in the office in our showroom, and I will be doing some prints and videos with it in the coming weeks. So let's dive in and have a look at the P700 again. Now, before we get started, I should have said at the start, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just click that subscribe button in the bottom right. And also, if you haven't already, go on the Fotospeed website and download the Fotospeed Art of Printing, which is our free ebook covering everything from switching the printer on right through to framing and mounting and bookmaking. So please, it's a free download, so please just go on there, give it a download and tell us what you think. Okay, so let's dive in to the P700. Okay, so the P700 has been out for a couple of years now. We had lockdown in that period as well, so it feels like a shorter time, but it has been, yeah, two and a half years. But it was Epson's replacement for the P600, which was a really popular printer. They must have sold thousands and thousands of them, if not millions of them. Really, really popular printer. The one criticism of the P600 was the black switching between photo black and matte black. They shared a nozzle on the print head, which was tricky and an awkward question, I think, for Epson, that when you wanted to print on matte papers, you may be already on the photo black ink, so you'd have to switch to the matte black ink, and that would flush away about 4 mil of ink. So it was annoying, to say the least. So when we switched back to photo black ink, we had to do the same process again and switch between. It would flush away another set of ink, another dose of black inks. So that was an annoyance. I'm happy to say that on the new P700, that has gone away. We've got a matte black head and a photo black head. They've also added a violet ink to the ink set as well. So it's a 10 ink printer now. So they've added an extra ink when compared to the P600, and that's the violet ink on the end here. So we've got a head for both of the matte black and photo blacks, and also an extra violet ink. So we've still got the light black and light black, but we've got a grey ink and a light grey ink. It's effectively the same, but they've just changed the names. And then of course we've still got our cyan magenta, light cyan, light vivid magenta and yellow in there as well. Really great printer, but also they've updated the interface as well, so it's all nice and touch screen, nice big screen on here as well. Nice and easy to use as well. It's actually the same interface that's on all their large format machines as well. So if you can use a P700, you can pretty much use a P20000, their big 64-inch machine as well. So nice crossover there, but don't be scared by that. They are nice and easy to use. Now, the big brother to the P700 is the P900, which is the A2 version. The P700 is an A3 or A3 plus, so it can do 13 inches across. Now, the P900 is the A2 version. Basically, it's the same printer, just in a bigger box. So the print quality and things are exactly the same. Now, the other thing that caused a bit of annoyance on the P600 and the R3000 before that was they didn't put a maintenance cartridge into those printers. So when it was doing head cleans, it was flushing the ink into a tank underneath or the sponges underneath. And when it was full, you pretty much had to either have that replaced by an authorised Epson repairer for a cost, or you had to then buy a new printer. But safe to say, they have now installed a maintenance cartridge actually on the printer itself. Really nice. They've kind of listened to everyone, I think, with this printer and kind of put it all into one. Now, there is a few little niggles that I've seen online and things about the printer, but generally, in my experience, it's a great little printer. It has done a really, really good job, and I'm really happy to have it on my desk. So, really great. Also, like I said at the start, it's the size of the machine. Probably a good 6 inches kind of shorter in width than the P600 as well. It fits really nicely on most desks and does fantastic. It's also got the manual feed tray, so it can still do poster board and DVDs and all that kind of thing. However, for fine art printing with its pigment inks, it is a really good printer. And it goes up against the Canon Pro 300. So that's a good battle there, and I did compare the two, and to be honest, they're pretty close in print quality wise and things. I normally say that if you print a lot of black and whites, personally, so please don't attack me in the comments for this, personally, I do just go towards Epson very slightly. Just a purely personal choice. I know people out there absolutely swear by the Canons, and they do produce amazing black and whites, and perfect black and whites in fact, and in a sense very comparable to the Epson, but I don't know why, just instinct, absolutely personal. So please don't, I'm not saying Canon produces rubbish black and whites, I'm not, they produce perfect black and whites. For me though, I don't know why, I just prefer the Epson. Purely personal, might prefer the box, not too sure. But anyway, enough of me kind of talking about what the printer is and what it does. Let's actually have a look at some prints and see how it performs, because I'm interested as well to revisit the black and white mode, so the advanced black and white mode and a custom profile, but also how it produces colour as well, because these printers really produce amazing colour now. So really interested. Also, I should add that the P700 has this new technology that you may have read about, and Epson are shouting about it, which is the carbon black. Now, this will intensify the black for you. It does this by putting a lot of a light grey down underneath the black, or on top of the black, to intensify the black. Now, I will do a test on this, so hopefully you can see on camera the difference, because actually there is a difference, but it does use a lot more ink to do it. So we'll have a look at it, and I'll show you kind of what it does and how it actually performs as well. Okay, so let me print some prints off. I'm going to be using NST Bright White, so I'm going to be printing a colour, black and white, and then I'll use a fine art gloss paper to do some colour and black and white as well, and we'll have a look between. Also, when I'm printing black and white, I'm going to do a comparison between the black and white mode and the custom profile as well that I've made, so we can have a good comparison and see which is best, because this printer has loads and loads of options on it, and it's absolutely, I'm impressed with this printer. I'm impressed with all printers, to be honest, as they're coming through at the minute, because the technology has advanced so much, even on the cheaper end of the market to the more expensive end of the market, like this printer here. The gap has narrowed a little bit. However, these printers, these pigment-based 10 ink or 12 ink based printers, really do produce amazing prints. But let's have a look at some and let me prove it to you. Okay, so I've made some prints. I used the Platinum Gloss Art Fibre for the Fine Art Glossy, which has come out absolutely fantastic. And I also used, as a matte paper, I used our High White Smooth paper, because I wanted to try something a little bit different. I normally go for NST Bright White, like I said before, but I went for something a little bit different actually, and it's lovely, and it's come out perfect again. So as we're on this picture, let's just have a look at colour and the quality of it. Now on the matte paper, it's done a fantastic job. I used a custom profile with the colour. It's done a really nice job. It's produced actually this colour at the top here, this pinky colour, which could be to do with the violet ink in there, and it's done a really, really good job. As I would expect it to do, really. I haven't really got much more to say on that. It's done a really great job, really great printer. Took A3 Plus absolutely fine, took the heavier papers as well. Now I would say, if you are ever seeing a little bit of strike on your corners, there is a setting within the printer's own settings, underneath device settings, and it's called thick paper, and you can turn that on, and it just hires the head very, very slightly and just brings everything in nicely for you and just stops a little bit of catching on the head. If you ever are seeing that, there is a setting in there. But absolutely fantastic. I mean, for colour, it's done a great job. I would say for this picture, I think really it suits the Platinum Gloss Art Fibre perfectly. The little bit of texture in here really kind of just emphasises the night sky and the colours and things going on. But saying that, I mean, that matte version does look great as well. There's not massive difference between the colour between the two either. It's quite a good profile, I think, if I do say so myself. So it's done a really nice job, and it looks absolutely fantastic. But I would expect that. I think this printer, it's got 10 inks in it. It's just going to look great. So really impressed. It is a good printer. It does colour fantastically, does fine art prints absolutely beautifully. There's no banding or anything. I haven't had to do any feed adjustments or anything like that. The dot grain looks great. It's nice and fine. These are all printed at 1440 DPI, so I didn't go mad on like the resolution, and it does look absolutely fantastic and does kind of jump off the page. But what was interesting was the black and whites. Now, printed this picture of this lighthouse out. So I printed this lighthouse picture out on the Platinum Gloss Art Fibre, and I printed it like twice. So I printed it off on the using a custom profile, but also under the black and white mode. Now, honestly, I can't really see a massive difference between the two. I would say the profile is just slightly darker, very slightly, but colour cast wise, there's not a lot in there. Now, the advanced black and white mode, which is this one on top, just a little bit lighter, like I said. So this could be to do with just the algorithm within the printer and how it works. If I was being ultra picky, and I've actually stared at these quite a bit under different lighting conditions, I would say the one with the profile has a little bit more detail in the sky, but also it's ever so, I mean, I'm really splitting hairs here, is a little tiny little bit warmer. Now, if I could refine this profile a little bit, then I could probably remove that. But it's one less thing to think about. I know this advanced black and white mode, if I'm in a rush, is going to produce a perfect black and white. Yes, I've lost tiny little bit, again, splitting hairs in like the highlights. But that's because this one's a little bit darker. And it could be that this one has a little bit of blue in that's appearing to make that one look a little bit warmer. So there's a bit of that going on. Both are perfect black and white. I think they are really nice black and whites. Both are acceptable. One's just a tiny little bit. I mean, we are talking tiny little bit warmer. I don't know if you can probably see that on the camera, but I'll do some close-ups and things so you can have a look. But again, detail is fabulous. In the rocks here and everything, produce fabulous detail. I can't really see any dot grain or anything like that. There's definitely no banding or anything like that. I wouldn't expect to see that here. Took the paper absolutely perfectly. Lovely A3 Plus print again. Worked great. I mean, it's going to do black and white great, and it has done black and white really well. So I'm impressed with it. Compared against the Canons and things, they're comparable, to be honest. I think both of these would both produce perfect black and whites. I'd expect to see the same results between the Canon as well. It's not a massive difference. Again, I just like the box perhaps with the black and white. So that's probably why I'm a little bit more torn towards the Epson, but looks great anyway. Now on matte, I actually prefer this print on matte. When I hold up the Platinum Gloss Art Fibre, for some reason, the definition, now this was printed with the advanced black and white mode again. Now for me, for some reason, the definition on the matte paper, which is quite unusual, is amazing. The detail is great. We've got nice sharpness in everything. And the rocks, especially these ones just at the side here, do come out really, really well. On the Platinum Gloss Art Fibre, they're still there, they're still great. But for me, and this is purely personal, I quite like it on matte paper and on the high white smooth. It just looks really nice on this paper. It's a nice smooth finish with a tiny little bit of texture. So maybe the texture is just kind of picking out those details a little bit. But that's down to paper choice and personal choice as well. So yeah, but back to the printer, it's done it really well. It's just held out really nicely. I wasn't expecting it to be bad. I mean, this printer is best part of £700, so we're expecting it to be pretty good, to be honest, for that kind of price point. And Epson have tested it and everything as well. So it is a fabulous printer. If you're looking at it and you're thinking about the P700 and what it can actually do for you, then it's going to do everything you will ever need it to do. So be it if you're a keen amateur or professional, it's going to be brilliant. It is professional art gallery standard of printing. Really, really nice, really beautiful. And if I move all these prints out of the way, a really great size. I just can't get over how it fits on your desk really, really nicely. I've done a really nice job of that. Any problems I've had when I've been printing? Like I said, the only problem I've kind of come across myself is sometimes it doesn't like it if you put in more than a few sheets of fine art paper. Best practice is generally anyway to put one sheet in, print another sheet in. It will usually take 2 or 3 sheets without any problem at all. I stacked these up and it was absolutely fine. The other thing it can do is just leave a little couple of marks where the head strikes as the paper just goes through, as the head passes across. It can just catch the corners a little bit. But now there is that setting in the menu to kind of stop this. It's just under menu and then under general settings and printer settings and thick paper. Really great. We've got that option there. That just hires the head a little bit and just stops that head catching. Also, it's good practice just to do a nozzle check on the printer every now and again, just to make sure it's all printing. I have seen a little bit of banding every now and again, and usually I do a nozzle check and then perhaps do a light head clean and it's all sorted and the banding goes away. Just something to bear in mind. It's got Wi-Fi in it, absolutely fantastic. You can print from your phone from it. It's got a little light as well inside, so you can turn that on and off so you can actually watch the print come in and out if you like doing that kind of thing. When you're printing, the picture actually comes up on front of the display as well, so you know what you're printing at that point. Nice little thing. It's not no bearing on print quality or anything at all. It's just quite nice to have the picture come up on the screen, to be honest. Now, I have noticed that the ink in the printer seems to last quite a while. I've done a couple of videos with it this morning, and I've got the warning low sign on the matte black, photo black and violet. And I've got new cartridges ready to put in. And I thought, oh no, as soon as I start printing off some prints, I've done some pretty big prints this morning. I've done 5, 6. I did 6 for this video, and also I've done another 10 for another video I did on some Epson papers. And it hasn't come up and told me to replace the cartridge yet. So it is really economical. I think an A3 Plus, I've just had a look, and it's about 1.2 mil it's used in total for the whole sheet. So really economical. The one ink that goes down fastest though is the light grey because of that carbon black in here. Now the carbon black is there to intensify the black. Now it does work. It does create a deeper black, more silky. But to do that, it does use a lot of light grey ink. Now, I kind of have it on most of the time. just so it's just there. It's great. I'm not too sure why they just didn't make that silky black the standard and not have the option to have it, but it's a nice little thing to say about in their marketing material and things like that. So possibly that's where it is. Now, I hope that has given you an overview and inspired you to maybe look at the P700, but also look at the P900 if you want A2 machines. Everything I've talked about today is applicable to the 900 as well. It's just in a bigger box basically, so you can print A2. 900 does have bigger cartridges in as well, so the ink costs are slightly cheaper. And I've really enjoyed coming back to this printer. It's a printer that I was quite impressed with when it first came out. I'm impressed with most printers, to be honest, when they first come out and the technology in them and things, be it from a £200 printer right up to like a £600-700 or £1,000 printer like this. So it's really nice to actually come back to it and actually think my view's still valid. I've kind of lived with it now for a good 18 months, off and on, swapping in Canon and Epson and going backwards and forwards. It's great. It does a really nice job. I'm really happy that it's back on my desk, to be honest. Now, we're not sponsored by Epson. We're not sponsored by Canon. We're partners in both. And I like to think I could be a little bit impartial. Now, I know I'm talking about Epson in this video, but please look at Canon as well. I think they're both a good option. For me, personally, I quite like having this printer on my desk. And that is that's just completely personal. I'm not saying that from Fotospeed's point of view or anything like that. And that's just a personal view, really. I think I quite like the box, quite like the name, the logo. It could simply be that. I think side by side, these printers, be it the P700 or the Pro 300, are really similar and really comparable as well. And I think you'd be happy with either. So on that note, I'm going to end there. Enough of me talking about these printers. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just click that subscribe button. Also click the notifications if you're on the app as well, so you get a notification when we release a new video every Thursday. So until next Thursday, bye-bye.